Hello guys, I'm Molly and I'm here with a funny story about my entitled mother-in-law. Well, right now she's not very entitled because we have cut her off. However, the journey of no contact was not very easy. You see, Ellie, my mother-in-law, is a big narcissist. I have no idea how or why she became like that. I'm no psychologist, but she literally shows all the signs of being a narcissist. Ellie is an absolutely vile, disgusting person. She is very self-absorbed and likes to think about herself only. Her son and my husband Christian somehow are the complete opposite of her. I think that's because he mostly grew up with his father. Yes, his parents split when he was young. He only got back with Ellie when his dad passed away from a terminal illness, and from the stories I have heard, let me just say that his mom is a controlling witch. Christian said, "My mom can be a little demanding of me. She always thinks that she's entitled to my stuff and that I'm supposed to take care of her for the rest of my life. You know, she used to take away my entire salary when I was working in school. For most of my life, I thought that parents were supposed to control their children. But that is not healthy, Christian. You are still slaving for her while she lounges away at her apartment. This is not okay. You need to make some serious financial decisions." "I know, Molly. I've tried to talk to her. She keeps guilting me about abandoning her or leaving her to rot. I suggested she try to get a job, but she won't listen. I'm hardly able to wrap my student loan since I was paying her money throughout college." Yes, this absolute trash of a mother stopped working when Christian was 16. That's when he got his first job. As soon as Christian was capable of earning money, he was made the family breadwinner. Cut off from their extended family and under the control of Ellie, he always considered this to be normal. He never had friends because Ellie never allowed it. He had no phone because, well, he couldn't afford one. When Christian came to college, a whole new world opened up to him. Ellie had tried hard to stop him from joining college. However, Christian never listened to her. After meeting with so many people and away from his mom's intense control, he understood that things were not normal. But he never stopped supporting her financially. I did bring up the issue 2 years after we started to date. I said, "Christian, you know your mother has been abusive towards you. She has manipulated you for years. She even blew through the inheritance your dad left you. Why do you still help her out?" "What can I do, Molly? She's my mom, after all. After all these years of repeatedly hearing her say that she deserved my money, I just can't get it out of my head. I don't want to cut her off completely. She's the only family I have except you." I understand that, Christian, but you need to reevaluate your situation. You are being crippled by debt. How much longer can you bear this? Christian had no answer to this. He knew that if he kept supporting Ellie, he would never be able to live debt-free. His behavior also often made me doubt my future with him. I knew that Ellie would become a huge problem and demand a share in everything we have. She already didn't like me or the fact that there was someone else who Christian cared about. Ellie said, "Don't think you can steal my son and his money. I'm his mother and the only one who deserves his things. You are just a gold digger who wants to take away my son. You need to stop being so dependent on Christian. He is an adult, and so are you. You are perfectly capable of taking care of yourself." "Shut up, girl. Don't tell me how to live my life. I won't lose my lifestyle for a worthless girl like you. Christian will always be under my control, and I will make sure of it." Ellie's words did alarm me a lot. However, I knew that I would stand up for Christian. Unlike him, I did have a very shiny spine along with a taste for petty revenge, and that's exactly why I was able to handle Ellie without letting her hurt me or Christian. Sometimes I did have to put up with her insults, but I didn't mind. As the years passed, both Christian and I graduated college. I started to work in an art studio while Christian got a great job as a software engineer. Despite his struggles, He was a good student and managed to make it big. However, his mother continued to bleed him dry. When we finally got engaged, Ellie threw a fit about him marrying a gold digger. She said, "How can you even think of getting married now? You still have to take care of me. Getting married would be a bad financial decision." "Mom, I'm already taking care of you. I never said that I will stop caring for you when I got married." "But your wife will take away all your money. You will have nothing left for me. She doesn't earn much, and her mother doesn't do anything either. They will both become a burden to you." "Excuse me? Me and my mom can get by just fine. You don't have to worry about us. I won't mooch off your son." What I didn't tell her was that she was the one who was mooching off him. I knew saying this would start an argument, and I wanted no part of it. She did take my silence as the incentive to insult me and my family. My family never spoke up because they were big on being respectable and didn't want to argue with a narcissist. Ellie continued to try and ruin our wedding, but Christian handled her just fine. He did get frustrated but still refused to cut off Ellie. After our wedding, we settled nicely into our new house. How we got the house is not important now, so I will talk about that later. But I will tell you that Ellie was absolutely pissed when she saw that we had a new house. She called me up and said, "So, you have already started to mess with my son's money? Look at you going around and buying expensive houses. Christian didn't even discuss this with me." "I have no idea what you're talking about. Besides, what I and Christian do with our money is none of your business. So you don't need to know why or how we are getting a house. You think you can live in a big house while I stay in a small rented apartment? Mark my words, Molly, you won't enjoy my son's house alone." Back then, I thought nothing of Ellie's words. She had a habit of making comments like these. I also had the habit of ignoring her and not giving her the reaction she wanted. That was until she did something stupid. When I was at work, my mom called me. She said, "Molly, why is your stuff at my house? Did something happen with Christian?" "What are you talking about, Mom? Nothing has happened between us. How do you know it's my stuff?" "The moving guys told me your name, and even have my name and address. This is insane. I opened a few boxes and found your clothes." "What the hell, Mom? Why don't you ask them how they got the stuff?" "I did. They said that someone by the name of Ellie sent the stuff. I think you need to go home immediately and find out what happened." I did exactly that. I immediately left work and went home, and when I stepped into my room, I saw that all my drawers and the closet were emptied. Hell, even my bath products were missing. I was absolutely stunned. I came down to the living room to find Ellie smirking at me. I said, "What the hell is going on, Ellie? Why did you touch my stuff and send it to my mom's place?" "Well, I'm here to make things right. From now on, only the homeowner and his mother will live in the house. A mother always has more rights than a wife. It's unfair for you to live here now." "What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Lady, you are insane. Since the house belongs to my son, only I and he will stay in this house. You will leave and go to the house that is in your name. I have the right to stay in this house since I am his mother. You are nobody and don't deserve to be here." "So according to you, only the one who owns the house will stay here?" "That's exactly what I mean. Now, since I have already sent your stuff away, you can just go and live somewhere else. Don't worry, my son and I will be very happy here." She said that and then went upstairs to her room. I was fuming at her audacity. I couldn't believe the fact that she tried to throw me out of my own house. I knew that I had to do something. I don't want to be kicked out of my home. This home was in my name and only I had the right to be here. But I couldn't let her leave without malicious revenge. So I made a small call. Then I also called my husband and told him to get home soon. He said that he would be off soon and would reach me in no time. After an hour or so, my mother arrived at the house. Ellie saw somebody come in, so she came to check. When she saw my mother, she was extremely confused. She said, "What the hell, Molly? Why is your mother here? I already told you that you and your family cannot be here. I already sent your stuff to your mother's place, then why is she here?" "Well, you said that from now on, only the homeowner and the mother can stay here, so I called my mother and invited her over." "This house is owned by my son. You should not be here. I demand you to leave as soon as possible." I loved it and kept laughing for a very long time. My mother also found the situation very hilarious. To be honest, I was pretty mad, but I also felt that I needed some laughter because I knew what was coming. Then I calmly proceeded to inform my mother-in-law why my mother was there. "For your information, my dear mother-in-law, this house belongs to me." "Yes, this house is actually in my name. The house belonged to my grandfather who passed away recently. It was a part of my inheritance." "What? You cannot be telling me the truth. I don't believe you. This house cannot be yours. I know my son has got this house for you. Just wait till he comes home and shows you your place. I will not tolerate you keeping me away from the house." "She's telling the truth, Ellie. You have some messed up logic about deserving your son's stuff. Even if the house is Molly's, you shouldn't be so entitled. Molly is Christian's wife and is equally entitled to his assets." "I don't take advice from freeloaders, Susie. I would suggest you keep your mouth shut. As for Christian, I will stay with him and make sure he divorces Molly soon." Just a few minutes after she said that, my husband walked through the front door. He was pretty confused seeing his mother standing in the middle of the living room. He was also particularly confused to see my mother because I did not tell him I had invited her over. He came in and said, "Hey guys, what's going on here? Molly, you told me to come home soon. Has something happened?" "Something has happened, Christian. Your bitch of a wife and her mother is trying to take over your house. I have come here to save you from this monstrous family." "Mom, what the hell is going on? Why would you disrespect my wife and her mother? They are standing right here." "Let me tell you what happened. Your mother just barged into this house and demanded to stay here. Oh my God, do you know she even packed all my stuff and shipped it off to my mom's house?" "What? Mom, is Molly telling the truth? Did you literally come to our house and touch our stuff? Who gave you the right to do this?" "I'm just trying to do you a favor, Christian. You really need to kick your wife out. For the longest time, I have told you not to put up with her freeloading behavior. I can get you a better wife." "Mom, I have told you multiple times not to meddle in my marriage. Why are you still doing this?" "I'm trying to stand up for you, Christian. Your wife will bleed you dry if you don't put a stop to it. So I have moved into your house and I'm going to stay with you." "You need to stop saying it's his house. I already told you, Ellie, this is my house. If someone's mother has to stay, it will be mine." "Christian, just look at what your witch wife is saying. I told you she's a gold digger. She's already claiming that this house is hers." "Mom, stop insulting Molly. This is ridiculous. She's right. The house belongs to Molly. She got it after her grandfather passed away." Hearing this, Ellie went very pale. She looked at us like she refused to believe it was the truth. My mom was still laughing softly while Christian looked ready to throttle her. Ellie tried to play cool and said, "It doesn't matter. Since you two are married, this house is also yours. I have the right to stay here. I ended up leasing early so that I could live here instead of her. Why should I stay in a rented apartment when you have a house? I won't let Molly steal everything from me. You need to kick her out." "Mom, you need to leave. I've had enough of you messing with my marriage. No matter how much you dislike Molly, I am not leaving her. I always made that abundantly clear. You went too far with your antics. There is no way you are staying here. Your wife is blackmailing you with the house, Christian. You can't be with her. Trust me. It will be so much better if you divorce her. I will find you a new wife." After this, everything went into chaos. Christian started to shout at Ellie and was extremely pissed. I was mad as well and started to yell at Ellie. When I had enough, I simply kicked her out. She looked at Christian for help, but he didn't even want to look at her anymore. So I brought her suitcases from the guest room and threw them out. Ellie was thrown out with them. She spent a good hour crying on our doorstep until I threatened to call the police. When Ellie finally left, Christian broke down and started to apologize to me. My mom went into the kitchen to give us space. He said, "Molly, I'm so sorry. I should have gone no contact with Mom sooner. All these years she kept berating you, but I still kept her in our lives. I thought she would eventually change and accept that you were my wife. Looks like she will never change. Christian, I understand that she's your mom and you need to take care of her, but I cannot put up with her behavior anymore. You know that she had crossed the line. She tried to kick me out of my home." "I know, Molly. I can't believe she would do this, but don't worry. She won't walk away without any consequences. I will stop funding her life. She has shown that she doesn't deserve my kindness. I'm done with her. You never have to see her again." Christian and I talked to great lengths about our boundaries. We came to a good understanding and I was already feeling much better. My mom also stayed over for lunch and we had some nice meals through DoorDash. Overall, it was a fun day for me, minus my stuff being missing. I had a good time showing Ellie her place. My mother had talked to the moving guys when they reached her place. She explained the situation, so they were willing to bring back my stuff from her house. However, that would take some time. Speaking of Ellie, the moment she left our house, she wouldn't stop calling Christian. She also kept spamming me with texts about how I was controlling Christian and making him cut her off. I immediately showed all her texts to my husband. Christian was furious and kept fighting with Ellie for days. It was like we were stuck in a cycle. That was until we finally decided to report Ellie to the cops. We decided to press charges for trespassing, theft of my stuff, and harassment. The police were kind of taken aback by everything Ellie had done. I mean, she wasn't violent, but she sure did have some screws loose. Ellie has since been informed of the police report. Our lawyers are looking into getting a restraining order. Ellie did show up at our house to scream at us. She said, "How dare you file a police report against me? I'm your mother. I deserve respect, Christian. You can't do this to me. You need to leave immediately. I'm done with your shit. I'm not bound to keep quiet every time you cross our boundaries. What you did was a criminal offense." "I don't care what the law says. I'm entitled to be in this house. You have even stopped paying me money. I have nowhere to go. You know I ended my lease to live here. I demand you let me in and remove the police report." "That will never happen, Mom. Besides, you don't deserve my money after trying to nuke my marriage." "Ellie, you need to stop shouting at my door. I already told you that we don't want you in my house. I'm doing just what you wanted. The owner and her mother will stay here from now on. Since you are neither of them, you need to leave." My words made Ellie have a breakdown in front of our house. Even the neighbors were peeking to see what the drama was about. Honestly, it was kind of embarrassing for a while. One neighbor even came up to our front door to ask if he should call the police. Ellie lunged at him and shouted at him too. The neighbor immediately called the police and let them hear what Ellie was saying. My stupid mother-in-law still stayed there screaming at us and the neighbor, and the cops arrived and arrested her. That gave us just the right amount of evidence to file a restraining order. Since Ellie was also harassing my mom, Christian told me to let her stay at our house. I was a little surprised by his suggestion. He said, "I feel very bad for Susie, Molly. Mom knows her address, so she won't stop harassing her. She's becoming extremely unhinged and I'm afraid she'll escalate her behavior. It will be best if Susie stays here." "Are you sure about this, Christian? I don't want you to feel uncomfortable living here with her." "I don't think Mom would want that either." "I know that Susie is a sane person, Molly. I would have no problem with her living here. She's very understanding of our boundaries. Besides, only the homeowner and her mother can stay here, right?" That made me and Christian laugh out loud. I was glad that we could make jokes even in this situation. I knew Christian was hurting, but he was trying his best to cut off Ellie from our lives. It does take time for people to cut off narcissistic parents from their lives. We have been talking about getting therapy for Christian. He's open to the idea but needs time before arranging his thoughts. I understand his mental state, so I'm trying to support him as best I can. Meanwhile, Ellie is still trying to gain sympathy from my mom. Since she can't contact us anymore, she has been crying to Susie about how unfair we are. She has no place to go and is currently living in her car. In her life, she has alienated so many people that no one wants to take her in. She will have to get a job now since Christian is adamant about not helping her out anymore. Ellie is terrified at the aspect of getting a job while she also has several police reports and an arrest against her. We don't care anymore. I can openly say that I am happy she got her just desserts.